the Raws, reptilian aliens, which are also the same ones in the movie Stargate, were the first creatures to occupy the earth. They wrote all the so-called sacred doctrines that are all over this world today. Like the dinosaurs of the past, they were some of the first body types on many of the round worlds that eventually evolved into intelligent creatures to manipulate material matter and create their technology. Their breed is of a hostile nature because of the environment they have lived in. They have wanted to correct this aspect of themselves, and so they created the humanoids, not only as slaves, but for the purpose of trying to interact with them and thus to be able to leave their hostile bodies and explore more than just the physical and astral worlds. But their innate nature has not allowed them to progress, but regress from what they have been attempting. Over time, the humanoids have gained a foothold with this world, and this is why the planet is being so poisoned to get rid of the population. Rebazar Tars and the Real Universal Guides brought me into Paul's teaching at the age of 22. This was where I was to start what no one else could even dream of. Shortly after I met Patty Simpson, who had worked with Paul, it was then his time to leave the scene here. It was said he was poisoned, and this is true. But there is so much more to this new adventure than meets the eye. The biggest test and worldwide wake-up was now about to occur as soon as I decided to step into the membership. For years, Rebazar kept hinting for me to take a look at what Paul was doing, which I was not ready for at the time when I was young. But he was giving me a heads up as to what I would be doing in the future. It was in my younger days that Ursula appeared and began to teach me so much, which I have written about in many of the new books. When Paul purposely left, the next man, DG, was up to bat. What most people do not know is there were deals made behind the scenes on the real side, and DG was part of the deal. On the outer, which is the physical world of solidness, everything basically looked normal and business as usual. The secret deal was being made was with the Keck reptilian aliens, who have always wanted complete control of this planet. DG knew what he was getting into, and in a way he thought of himself as rather clever, so he was willing to take on the assignment to see how it would turn out. As time went on, DG was doing fine for the Keck, but at a certain point he wanted everything for himself, and this is where she did not like his attitude. And so she prepared Crony. Rebazar and the boys did not like what DG was doing, so they asked him to leave, which he was very reluctant to do. But he soon did, as another deal was struck with incoming Harry Clump for the member shrimps. Clump became her chump, and he loved it. He was a little religious man that wanted to be bigger, and she knew this. And so Crony became Mrs. Clump. DG was to fill in until I was ready as the second part of what Paul started. Paul knew he could only reach so many people during his time, so he left this scene. Rebazar and the boys told DG he would have the title of the Master and that was all. DG was a stand-in, and that was his role. But as time went on, he wanted more, and he took Paul's title as the Mahanta. Rebazar warned him not to do this, but he did it anyways. DG became the ego master and began to misuse his position. The Mahanta title entailed the 14th circle of initiation at the time, and DG was only a 6th initiate. He was given a lot of assistance by the real guides until they had enough of his nonsense and then brought in Harry Klump. Harry was the most ready from all the initiates and was given the same drill as DG. Harry started off fine until she showed up. Then he was bitten, possessed, and tap-lined by her. Harry was told not to use Paul's title, as it would be for me, as I would be entering the 14th circle as the Mahanta, the living master. She told Harry to take the Mahanta title because she could see the advantages of controlling everything she wanted. Harry soon became infatuated with her, and he liked the idea of wearing Paul's title because he was so immature and easy to control by her. DG and Harry never had the real awareness Paul has. They do not know what the isness is. Both became self-serving and tap-lined to the Kalam God with her and the influence of the three-headed God. DG was given the opportunity to do something real, but he never did. He was not officially a part of the physical corporation that Paul started. He was only set up to possibly be a part of it. He soon proved himself not to be trusted as Rebazar and the real guides prepared to get rid of him and find a replacement. Harry was the best choice at the time, and so he was brought in. Behind closed doors, Harry made deals with DG that very few people know about. Harry had no right to do what he did, and he soon took on Paul's title as the fake living master of the crony corporation. Neither DG or Harry ever had what Paul referred to as the rod of power. They have both marketed themselves as the fake masters they were. I was shown all of this and a lot more from the real side from Rebazar and Paul, along with Yabel and the other real guides. For those who do the New You sessions, they will be shown what is real now and how the real guides do not like what Taplining Harry and Reptilian Jonesy are doing with their one world order, OWO, friends who control the masses. The deception on the earth is huge and very few people see all the way through it to the all is. I was to have Paul's title as the 14th initiate, but DG and Harry purposely ruined it along with everything Paul presented. They were both more in love with themselves and became controlled by the influence. This has all been a huge lesson for me, as this is how I came into my position this lifetime. Most people will not be able to relate to this, as each person has their own experiences with life. Because of what DG and Harry did, I was shown by the real guides and the all is, I was to be the new man, providing the new you sessions because the Hugh word is now replaced. just like President Obama, nation, the Pope, and many other old dictators, old Harry is playing his artificial role as something he is not. He is fake like the others with the Keck systems and tap lining. DG went off and started his own Adam teaching, which many people think means ancient teaching of the masters, when in reality it means alien takeover of mothership and alien takeover own. DG not at all happy when he was pushed aside, but he had made the choice to disregard the real guides and the reptilian aliens because he began to think of himself as bigger than life itself. Right before his physical body died, DG came to me on the real side asking for help. I told him that the deals he had made were now his destiny and had become his fate. This adventure will continue, and we will see what DG does. As reptilian alien Jonesy rules the nest at the Crony Corporation. She is squeezed by exposure, as so many of her dumbed down member shrimps are waking up to her, and how she has been taplining them in their astral bodies. She works directly with the Supreme Deceptor that I wrote about in Nubook 4, The Adventures of Rebazar Tars. She is part of the Time Trappers with the Kalam Om God. The fake higher initiates of the Keck Corporation are so hypnotized by her that they do not want to see what is really taking place with all her taplining. She totally controls the living dead master, tap-lined Harry Clump. She has seduced and drugged him since they met, which was first in the lower astral realm, just like in the movie Rosemary's Baby. She injected him with tap lines and easily took him over decades ago because of his lust for her. The real guides basically said nothing because we were planning the new wave is the new man on the real side life is. As this real adventure continues, it is all about becoming more aware, as this was the original idea when DG and Harry were given the opportunity to do something real and wonderful. But they became so obsessed with themselves that the real guides made the deal, and now the reptilian aliens have them. Who would believe such a thing? Life is so much bigger than all of us. Very few people ever catch on to the all is. It is far too real. Paul had started off with the Hugh word, which is from humanoids, and DG and Harry were to try and fulfill something beneficial for the humans, but they didn't. That is, they didn't do what they did the way they could have, but they did not fail. Seems rather funny, doesn't it? Because what they did has turned out as it has now become the greatest wake-up event ever. This now becomes the best part for you as the reader. I saw the hue destroyed as the old connection it was. The new you has always been the true reality of the all is. It is true that human history has recorded the Hu word, which was written by the reptilian aliens, as was the Bible and so many other so-called sacred doctrines. This planet is almost completely controlled by Kek, the rod of power, which is very real, as Paul referred to, was the first step to what is now. The new wave is Dwayne and Ava. In 2014, the new wave is the new man and the new woman. We are real now. Human history, as we have come to know it, has all been controlled by Ra. They have controlled the United States from the days of George Washington, from Ratican HQ. Comes all the orders to create the world wars, the Cold War wars, and all the takeovers that are seen on a daily basis in so many different ways that most people do not see. Life is not a belief. What is taking place today on the earth and many other round worlds is the effects from all the causes the Ra lords have created. They try to be very clever with their deception to where they make their humanoid creations believe that what is taking place with the polluted and poisoned environment is either from their invented gods, something mysterious, or that it must be all the people on this earth not understanding the rules and regulations of the systems they have created to enslave everyone. Their whole demeanor is to keep the little minds of the earth so busy that people do not have the time to see what they are doing behind the scenes. The Ra lords and the OWO lords, One World Order, rule the earth from their reptilian capital building in Rome, the Vatican. The world is led to believe they are for the good of the people and they are the holy rollers, so to speak, when in reality the very opposite is true. Deception owns this world as the OWO lords hire the time trappers to subdue innocent people into a seduction with the influence and then taplining them in their astral bodies while they sleep in their dreams. Here is where a person needs real guidance to start to recognize what is taking place with their life here. Otherwise, they will continue to stay asleep and be forced into agreeing with this passing dream. You make the choice.